from where you live.
Purdue football coach Darrell Hazell announces the addition of Randy Melvin to his coaching staff. Melvin will coach the defensive line. He is coming to West Lafayette from the University of Miami, where he also coached the defensive line. Melvin is no stranger to Boilermaker country. He coached Purdue's defensive ends in the late 1990s during his first stint in West Lafayette. Several key members of the Golden Blacks defensive line will return for the 2016 season, including Rajon Howard and Jake Replogle. Replogle led the team with 14 tackles for loss in 2015. And a quick look at what's going on with Michigan State in the college football playoffs. The Spartans down 10-0 at the half to Alabama, now down 31-0 in the fourth quarter at last check. In the other semi, Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers send the Oklahoma Sooners back to Norman with a 37-17 loss. So it looks like it'll be Clemson and Alabama in the final. Saturday is lining up to be a special night at Mackey Arena. Purdue will host Iowa in the Big Ten home opener on Rick Mount Bobblehead Night. The Purdue legend is expected to be in attendance. It would be his first public appearance at Mackey since the 1980s.
Two-time All-American.
The last time Mount showed up to Mackey, Purdue head coach Matt Painter was being recruited to come to West Lafayette as a player.
I'll never forget getting recruited by Clem Haskins, and Clem Haskins would always talk about, how he was a four-time NBA All-Star, but he always would speak, Rick Mount's the best shooter I've ever seen. I thought that was, that was pretty impressive.
Mount was a two-time All-American and a two-time Big Ten Player of the Year. In his junior season, he helped the Boilermakers win the Big Ten title as Purdue made it all the way to the NCAA title game.
Someone who's in their 70s, someone who's in their 60s, they hear Purdue, they think of Rick Mount. And most of the time they follow with, he's the greatest shooter I've ever seen.
It's fitting that he'll be celebrated at a game against Iowa. Some of his best games came against the Hawkeyes. In 6 games against Iowa, he averaged more than 45 points per game.
One of the best players to ever play at Purdue. He's one of the best players in college basketball. It's going to be a big-time environment. Everyone's going to love to see him. He's back at home. It's the home that Rick Mount goes. So, everybody's going to be excited. We want to put on a good showing for him as well as the crowd, so hopefully he can come back to more games.
As for the game itself, Iowa will roll into West Lafayette full of confidence. The Hawkeyes gave top-ranked Michigan State its first loss of the season on Tuesday. The Purdue women opening Big Ten play this afternoon in victorious fashion at Michigan. Ashley Morissetti hits a three-pointer with less than 10 seconds to go to elevate the Golden Black over the Maize and Blue 65-63. The Boilers were down 6 with less than 3 minutes to go when Bridget Perry scored 6 straight points to even things up at 62. Morissetti and Perry ended up with 15 points apiece. Purdue's next game will be on Sunday afternoon when it hosts Illinois. A day after blowing a 5-point lead in the final minute of regulation en route to an overtime loss to the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers looking to end 2015 on a positive note. The Blue and Gold hosting Greg Monroe and the Milwaukee Bucks at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We'll pick things up in the third. Pacers down 4, make it 1. C.J. Miles hits the straightaway 3-ball, timeout on the floor. Let's skip ahead to the fourth. Pacers down 6. Once again, it's George Hilda Miles who dials from long distance to make it a one-possession game. But the Bucks proved to be too much for Indiana. Chris Middleton drives and spins away from Paul George, give him the basket and the boo-boo. And as Alice Cooper would say, Milwaukee wins 120-116. Staying in Indy, it looks like there's a big change coming for the Colts. ESPN's Mike Wells is reporting that head coach Chuck Pagano will be let go after the season. In what has turned out to be a very disappointing campaign for the Colts, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that Pagano will reportedly be axed. There was talk of reaching the Super Bowl before the season, but an injury to Andrew Luck, an offensive line that failed to protect its quarterbacks, and coaching changes in the middle of the season took a toll on a team that will most likely miss out on the playoffs. Colts GM Ryan Grigson is reportedly staying with the team at least through the search for the next coach. That does it for sports. We'll be right back after a short break.